Okay, here we go. Polynomials, putting it all together. So we're going to be simplifying, and our answer can only have positive exponents. So here we go. So normally, right, if we were to cover this up, let's just put a cover here, and we just saw this part, it looks like power to power. So that's what we're going to focus on first, and then we'll go ahead and focus on that. Let's get rid of this. All right, so here we go. Let's pick pink. All right, let's work on the top. If I'm just working on 2w3 to the third power, I'll remind myself that 2 has an exponent. It's a 1. And then I'll remind myself that we're doing power to power. So power to power says 3 times 1, right, is 3. So we'll have 2 to the third power. Then I'll say 3 times 3 is 9. So we have w to the 9th. All right, so that's my top part. So I'm going to take that and, oh, by the way, no, I'm going to pick up my calculator. And I'll pick up my calculator. 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So that's 8w to the 9th power. Now I'll go ahead and bring down the denominator. And now I'll do the division part. So we kind of had to do two different parts separately. So here we go. Once again, I'm going to remember that the rules for my numbers, for my constants, have never changed. 8 divided by 4, that gives me a 2. However, when I have exponents and I'm dividing, I do have a rule. I write down my base and then I subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. And that's that. All right, let's see what's next. All right, once again, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to have to go ahead and do something to the denominator first. So let's just rewrite the numerator, and then let's look at the denominator. We've got power to power, so that's 3 to the 4th, and that's v to the 4th. Okay, 3 to the 4th. I don't have a calculator. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81, right? 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. All right, that's 81. So I have a 6 V10 and an 81 V4. All right, 6 and 81, we're going to put that in our calculator, and we're going to put that in our fraction, and then we're going to hit the enter button, and that should simplify it. 3 goes into 6 2 times, and 3 goes into 81 27 times. Okay, and then we're going to look at our v. We've got a 10 up here. We've got a 4 down here. 10 minus 4 is 6. So we can write it like this, v to the 6th. I think Delta Math will accept it like this, right? 2v to the 6th over 27. Of course, we could have written it separately if we wanted to. Either way is correct. They mean the same thing. All right, let's keep going. All right, note that I don't have anything really to do in the top yet. And in the bottom, I want you to note that the parentheses are only around the 3. They left the 4 out. The 4 does not get the power. It's just a 4. So I rewrite the 4. The only one that gets the power is the s. All right. So I remember that the rules for the numbers, right? 3 over 4 is just 3 over 4. Can't simplify that at all, right? So we're going to go ahead and write that as 3 over 4. And then we'll write our s. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And we're like, oh, can't write it like that. All right, 3 stays in the numerator. 4 is already in the numerator. And now s is in the numerator. 4 stays in the denominator. And then s is in the denominator. I could write s to the first power, but we're just going to write it like this. It means the same thing, and it looks cleaner. All right, so this isn't bad. We're really just combining, it looks like power to power and division. We're not really bringing in multiplication, which we'll do some activities where that we do bring multiplication in because that's really important. All right, so in my numerator, I can keep it the same. Nothing's going on there because there's no parentheses. In the denominator, see how both the negative 2 and the z are going to get that power. So that's negative 2 in parentheses to the third power. And then z, and when I write my z's, I put that line there so they don't look like 2's, z to the third power. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my calculator. I still have the negative 6 z to the 6th over, I'm going to pick up my calculator, negative 2 in parentheses to the third power is going to be negative 8 And then I remember that when I have my numbers, my plain old constants, there's no new rule for them. I'm just going to pick up my calculator, hit the fraction button, put -6 over -8, and let me get my orange back. So let's see, the negatives cancel out. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and then that's going to be 4. And then I see my z, 6 minus 3 is 3, so I'm going to put my z up here, z to the third, and I'm done. All right, I think I have one more left. All right, so lots of negatives. We're going to rewrite the numerator, right? And then we're going to remind ourselves. I'm going to bring the denominator over here just to remind ourselves what we're doing. And remember the -2, I'm going to give it a 1 for the exponent. So we're going 3 times 1 is 3. So I have -2 in parentheses times 3. And then 3 times -5 is -15. That's a j, so j to the -15. I'm going to pick up my calculator, -2 to the third power. We just did that, didn't we? That's -8, j to the -15. Now I'll go ahead and write that in the denominator. So we had to do a little work in that denominator before we could bring it together. So it's -8, j to the -15. Oops, I wrote a y. -8, j to the -15. So if I just look at the numbers, the constants by themselves, that's just a -5 over 8, right? It doesn't matter where we put our negative. I don't think Delta Math really cares, right? We could put it in the numerator, we could put it in the denominator, or we could put it just right out in front of the fraction. So let's see, -3 minus a -15. That's just going to be a +12. So j gets to stay up here. That was the surprise. It is positive. And I think that's it. All right, once again, the practice is where it's at. That's where your learning really happens and your retention really happens. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in class.